Greetings, salutations, and hello. This is match 5 of League 8. We are lucky enough to play first, and we'll see what sort of hand we have here. We have 2 lands, we have Drum, we have Scourge, and Plating. I think this is keepable. We can dump a land, Ornithopter, Drum, and Scourge, turn 1. And then, hope they don't have too crazy of things and can get down the plating. And even equip and swing next turn. And with that, I should be fresh out of plays. Ghost Quarter with Ether Vial. Okay, so that means we should be free and clear. To make a pretty big swing with the Volt Scourge. Starting with something like that, my first inclination is to think Death and Taxes of some variety. Probably Eldrazi Death and Taxes. Could be wrong. But we will certainly play this Drum. And I'm going to go to Combat, activate the Nexus. And swing in with those bad boys. If they have anything to block, I can blast it. They must have a stop on their upkeep, because I certainly don't have anything. Another Ghost Quarter. Wow. Well, they can kill Inkmoth Nexus, which they might see as enough to win, or prevent themselves from dying next turn. I don't think there's reason for me to blast now, still. End step, they are going to violin something. Okay. Tide Hollow Sculler. Exile it. Okay. Yeah, we'll just respond by casting it. Because that's not going to block me. And unless they have something that's completely colorless, I suppose they could have Dismember. But I think we have this one pretty well in hand. Yeah. Excellent. So Blood Moon might be kind of useful against them. Blast might be pretty useful. Let me see if I have any notes on Eldrazi taxes. I need to start expanding these notes, because I don't have quite as many decks in this list as I should. Yeah, I do not have any notes for Eldrazi taxes. Let's see. I know a lot of their guys are white. You've got Displacer, who's going to be devoid, which means Champion's not going to be as good. So I'm kind of tempted to drop the Champs. Tempted to drop the Memnites. I like the Blood Moons to lock them off of Eldrazi Temple and Ghost Quarter, but it's not very good if they have lots of planes. I don't know how many they tend to run. Thoughtseize will be good answer to some of their stuff. Galvanic Blast is probably good for targeting their, Eldrazi Displacer and the like. Ancient Grudge specifically versus... Oops. Where did that go? Vile doesn't seem like it's enough to me. Running white, they could have Stony. Grid actually seems pretty good because... let me look up a recent list. Eldrazi taxes. Thraben Inspector, Leonin Arbiter, Thalia, Tidal Sculler, Blade Splicer, Flicker Wisp. So Ghirapur Aether Grid will be good against Blade Splicer, Thalia, and Flicker Wisp, which seems like a decent amount. This list I can see only runs 1 Plains, 1 Swamp, so Blood Moon is probably good. They'll likely have Stony, as we already assumed. They have Paths. Yeah. Which makes Ravager a little less enticing. So I'm going to board out 2 of those. And I'm going to board out 1 other moon, because on the play, I don't want to see it. No, on the draw, I don't want to see it as much as I want to see it on the play, I think. Alright. This hand has the potential of getting a turn 2? 1, 2, 3? Yeah, a turn 2 grid, which would be pretty good. So I'm going to keep. Turn 2 grid, unfortunately, is not enough versus a turn 2 Stony on their side. But I don't think that's necessarily worth mulliganing. Would have kind of hoped for this to be a 1-drop or something, that we could have taken advantage of the extra mana while it is around. Okay, Thalia. Not as bad as it could have been. It's certainly not great because we can't do our turn 2 grid anymore. But them's the ropes. So I'm going to play the Citadel. And my question to myself is, do I play Plating? Or do I land Pest and Ravager? I think, well, Pest and Ravager uses, it gets more bodies for the same amount of mana. But first I'm just going to rock out some combat. Actually, a drum in place of that second Citadel would have been pretty nice. Because then we could have gotten the Aether Grid down this turn. It was decent that they didn't have a turn 2 Stony. But we're definitely not out of the woods as far as that goes yet. Okay. Alright. This is actually pretty decent. It doesn't get rid of the golem, which is less decent. But next turn I could play and equip plating, or I could play grid and kill Thalia and maybe kill Blade Splicer. Thoughtseize. Ooh. Well, that unfortunately takes more mana than we'd like. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. In order to kill Thalia, I would have to tap, say, Pest and Ravager. Well, it's either that or I'm swinging for 2 instead of 1 lifelink, which I don't think is enough reason to not do it. Or to not kill Thalia. Or do I kill Blade Splicer and leave up Thalia to make their spells cost more? I think that's fine. It's either that or I get in for a big plating. Which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7 with Battlecry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If they have any sort of removal, it's bad. Is it better for me to have an answer or to have a big threat? I think it's better for me to land this now and kill some of their shenanigans. Yeah. Because in theory, I can always still do this next turn. The plating attack. And I'm going to leave up this activation for next turn to see what sort of tricks they have. Thought-Knot Seer. Well, that is unfortunate. But I think it's better that we landed grid. They will more than likely take plating, but it is good that we landed grid. Otherwise, they probably would have taken grid. And without grid, we don't have answers to these two, which is a little bit better. I guess small bright side. Next turn we can Thoughtseize for 1. Is there any reason for me to keep this Opal? I think the answer is no. Well, it'd be Opal or a Citadel. Clear attackers. Okay. I'm going to block Blade Splicer. Tap my artifacts. And then eat the Opal. Galvanic Blast is lovely. It kind of sucks that we ate the Opal instead of Citadel. Yeah, it's better to blast. I'm gonna blast pre-combat so that I can swing in with the Ravager as well for the extra damage. It also gets us a redraw, which could be okay, you know. A mountain. Not the greatest of things. But I still like where we're at right now. For now. that could very quickly change. Another Thought Knot. Yeah, that's fine. Could have used the Thoughtseize to get rid of that. Maybe that was the better option. Not quite sure. We'll just let them get in because we're winning this race. For now. I suppose Ravager isn't doing much anymore since Thought Knot Seer's there. Drum is more fuel for Ravager, potentially. I don't think, let's see, that'd be 3, 4, I'd have to eat 3, 4, 5. Yeah, well, not necessarily. Well, yes, to make Ravager survive combat with Thought Knot Seer, I would have to eat 3 artifacts, which is not that good. But do I have to have him survive? Maybe not. Maybe I just need to kill him. And then modular onto, say, Volt Scourge. That doesn't seem too bad. Okay. So now I can either activate right away or I leave up this activation for some other shenanigans. I think I like that. So I'm going to just eat the drum. And let this trade occur because I think my top deck is a little bit better than the opponent's top deck. Could have gone for something a little bit better. But again, we are currently winning this race. Especially with Nexus representing another airborne attacker. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. I don't think they've missed a land drop. Yeah, that is bad news for us. Because they can just flicker Vault Scourge, which will lose all those counters. That's unfortunate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and I don't have enough artifacts to kill it. I no longer like my current positioning. I would love another Galvanic Blast. That might be too much to ask, though. On upkeep. Sure. Forces me to consider what I'm going to be doing. I'm fairly certain the answer is not squat. Because if I do use it, it forces me to lose mana. Yeah, that's fine. It is unfortunate. Plating is very, very good. Five, 6, 7. I might have lost out on lethal there. possible I lost out on lethal. That sucks a little bit. Beginning combat. Main phase. I can wait until their turn to do shenanigans. I have 1 activation. And then next turn I have 1, 2, 3, if I do it right. Don't even have to attack. If they have anything that gains them life, that would be detrimental. But if they do not, then their only hope is that I haven't seen the activation out. Yes, go to combat. Yeah, if I had activated and attacked with Blink Moth last turn, lethal would be a lot easier. I should have seen that. I was too focused on keeping up the citadels to activate and ping the opponent. Okay. That Stony Silence is a wee bit too late. Can't use these citadels for mana, but I can just use them to activate my grid. Or I can just blast them. I have lots of ways of killing my opponent. Alright. Well, we were able to come back once again, which is, always feels good. That league was a little rougher than I'd like. I'm going to take a little bit of time between the next league, meaning I'm just not going to start right away again. I want to explore putting in a dispatch or 2 in the sideboard to deal with some of those bigger threats that Galvanic Blast can't. I personally have tried dispatch in the sideboard before, and I did like being able to exile creatures when I saw it. Unfortunately, that probably means that I'm cutting the Galvanic Blast in favor of it because I'm not quite sure what else I would be cutting. But I'm willing to playtest it for a bit, see how things rumble. With the higher level of Jund and other such decks nowadays, I think it's nicer to have versus Tarmogoyf, versus Death Shadow, and creatures that are just going to have larger, more toughness than a Galvanic Blast can handle. And at least having one answer to that seems like it's a good idea to me. But thanks for watching. This was League 8. Catch you next time.